When I go out early in the morning, one of the things that I like to do is I like to hoot at them and try to get them to gobble if I haven't been in there and haven't put a bird actually to roost. I'll slide in there pretty close to where I know, and I have scouted before that there's been birds there, but birds around in Missouri especially will change roosting spots. So I might hoot at them and get them to gobble like that. You may even use a crow call. Crow call sometimes can be kind of loud. I can kind of tone my owl down to where it's not so loud, because I've actually hooted loud enough at times that I've actually spooked birds. I was too close to them and spooked them off the roost. So you want to be really careful with that. You're better off to do it softer, and you can always get louder if you need to be able to get a response. I try to move in to try to get within 75 to 100 yards of them right here in Missouri because there's plenty of timber. If you can't get that close, I mean, I've set up at 300 yards from them before because they're across a wide open cow pasture or a cornfield or something like that. So just depending on the terrain or whether you can get in that close to them. But one of the things that I like to do is I like to try to be the first hen in the morning to start yelping at them, to start that real soft little first wake up, little cluck and little soft yelping to be able to get that gobbler's attention on me and not so much on the hens around him. Maybe she wakes up a little bit more, maybe a few minutes later. We'll always call it tree yelping when we're doing the really soft stuff, but a hen can do anything she wants to in the tree, just like she can if she's on the ground. I've had hens set up there and cut just as loud and as aggressive, and probably some of the prettiest cutting you ever heard when they're sitting up in that tree, because they're actually talking to the other birds. But if you're the very first hen to start talking, that's going to put that gobbler's attention on you and hopefully get him to fly down, maybe even a touch earlier than his hens, and get him to come to you if he believes that you're on the ground and ready to be bred at that point in time. One of the other tips would be that it all depends on where you're hunting at. I mean, if you go hunting out west for the Merriam or the Rio, or say in Mexico, especially in Mexico, they're terrible. I mean, they don't have that many predators. So if you start calling to them in the dark like you would back here in Missouri, where it's just barely starting to break light, those birds will fly down in the pitch dark. Jay Scott's the one that told me that. With Jay Scott Outdoors, when I first went with him, he said, don't call too early. And I'm like, why? He said, no, you do it like you do back home, and I guarantee you have birds in our lap. And he said, you won't even be able to see them good enough to shoot them. He said, that's just the nature of these birds. They don't have anything to worry about. Missouri's a little bit different. We have a lot of coyotes and bobcats and things that are ready to eat them. And they're not going to come down when you start doing that, not until they can actually see.